Hey guys, welcome back to Counterside. In today's video, we're going to be going through some basic tips for global launch for your first couple of days of play. I don't want to do full guides because we're still on the Korean version and it's just annoying trying to do guides in Korean. So we will wait for full English before we do that. But a bit of news, you can pre-download the game and also there is a PC client for the game. So I'll leave that in the description. The thing about the PC client is there is no guest login. You can't reroll on the PC client. So if you want to reroll, do it on an emulator and then bind your account and then basically log into that account on the PC client. But there is that PC client, which is really nice. More games should do it. So I'll leave that linked in the description. Once again, you can go ahead and download that PC client. But here, I just wanted to make note of this. We are during the global launch going to get 16 days where every day we get a free 10 pull. Now the banner is going to be limited on the heroes you can get, I assume, but still having that is fantastic for filling out your roster of SR and R characters to be able to make some nice teams, but still allow you to save your resources for future banners and characters that are going to be more OP basically. So that is really nice. So keep that in mind. This does make it more viable now to hold on to your resources. But hey, if you're just someone that loves summoning, games are about fun, so you do you. But now we are going to get into some, like I said, basic tips. We're not going to go too deep. Hopefully this will get you pointed in the right direction. So the first thing is characters. As you can see, they have all these symbols on them. And don't pay too close attention to the characters I'm using. I'm just doing some experiments on this account. So the symbols we have, like you can see here, we have the cross swords. We have the tank on these guys. Down here, we have like a crosshair, and then we have all. Now, what do these symbols mean, and what is everything in a character? So if I jump over here, I'll jump to some images that I took from the closed beta. So we have 7, they call them roles, I call them classes, whatever you want to call them. We have 7 of them. We have striker, ranger, sniper, defender, supporter, siege, and tower. Now, the first 4 make up like a advantageous square. So striker is strong against ranger, ranger strong against sniper, sniper against defender, defender against striker. Pretty much the way it works. They do also have their individual characteristics. For instance, the striker has EVA and hit that are up, the ranger has crit and hit that are up, and so on and so forth. Now with supporters, siege and tower, they don't have like the elemental tree as such, but supporters are going to be your healers, buffers and debuffers. Sieges are going to be units that go straight for the enemy base, and then towers are going to be like a pseudo base in the middle that your enemies have to bust through. And that's pretty much the summary of all the roles in the game. Then we also have employee type, which is counter, soldier, mech. Counter is going to be your waifus and husbandos who have ultimate abilities. They're really flashy and nice. Soldiers, they're not too flashy. They're not too strong, but when you deploy them, you do get multiple copies of the character. So they got numbers instead. And mechs are big mech warriors that don't have the flashy stuff that the counter ones do, but they just have high base stats and they just basically they're tanks that run through and do stuff. So that's pretty much the gist behind the types as well. Then over here, we do have the attack type. As you can see, the one with the tank means they can only attack ground units. If they've got an airplane, they can only attack air units, and all means they can attack ground and air units, which is really helpful, especially in the early game. If you have some characters that can attack both, it's more versatile that you don't have to build as many characters and you can help your progression. So we'll jump back over here. And the last couple things we have to look at is one, this badge above that changes the deployment cost to green. That's going to be your leader badge. And you can change your leader. You just select the character and put the leader badge on them. And as you can see, it reduces their deployment cost. And that's what that number is, their deployment cost in battle. And as you can see, leader is going to reduce that. So the other thing about leader is when you're using 2 ships and they're close enough, if you go into combat with one ship and the other ship is close enough, that leader will be able to support the other team as well. Just an added note about the leader. But normally I like to do it on a unit that I think is going to die the most and come back the most, because then I get the most value out of that reduction in the deployment cost. And as you can see on my team here, you don't have to actually fill all your team slots. And I'm going to reference a guide as well by Legion. He made a really nice beginner's guide on Google Documents, which I'll leave linked in the description. And he talks about, building 8 units, because because when you get into campaign, you will have 2 ships with 8 available slots each, which makes 16 units, but you can just build, sort of 8 to 10 units and use them, and you can leave slots empty. Now, you can fill these if you want as well. This is something I've been experimenting with, which is leaving slots empty so that your characters go out, your strong characters that you've leveled go out, and then when they die, they just redeploy, as opposed to having, level 1 characters that are going to waste your deployment costs. So that's something you can do as well when you are team building. As for actual team building, I'm going to go ahead and we'll jump over to this guide by Legion, and we'll take a look at this part here, which is very nice for helping out. So this part here, he basically goes through some good units. Now, basically, this is how you build your team. What he suggests, and what I'm probably going to do as well, is go build 2 tanks and then 6 DPS. Now, the reason I'm doing this is, like I said, you don't have to fill out your whole squad. So what I plan on doing is having my 4 unit squads. And the reason I'm not going to focus too much on support, I may change this. And once again, as you progress, you adjust with what you need. But that's my main focus at the start, because I'm not too stressed about having a healer, because like I said, I'm hoping that my units that I have leveled will last long enough so that once they die, then they can just come back straight away with the deployment costs. So hopefully I don't need the healer. I can just keep cycling through. So that's my plan. 2 tanks and a bunch of DPS. Now, for your team building, DPS, you're going to get your 1 from your 30 pool. Then you're also going to get this chick as an SSR through just general progression in I think it ends the first chapter or something like that. This guy you start off with. This girl we're going to get from the pink-haired girl. You're going to get from I think it's the pre-registration we get her from. So that's already 4 DPS units already that you can have ready to go. Then we do have a rare DPS unit, which is really solid as well. The chick with the chainsaw, she's savage. She has damage mitigation as well, really nice. We have a rare tank and an SR tank. And as you can see, between these units, if you have stuff on this page, basically they're things that are good enough to warrant putting into a team. But the ones circled in green are the ones he highly recommends. I really like this Mafia girl. I really like this girl down here with the glasses as well. But anything in here, you're going to find a pretty decent team to make. So try and focus on, like I said, 2 tanks and DPS. Like I said, it's up to you. You can go supports. You're learning the game. Just have a play around and you can go with that. But moving on from that, the next thing I wanted to look at quickly is going to be upgrading characters. Now, I'm not going to go in depth into this. I'll show you what the basics are to it. So if we go over here and we go over here, so this up the top, we have different upgrading methods. So this one's going to be power up, which you feed basically units of the same type to get stats. I wouldn't bother with this until you're sure which units you want to build. This next one is going to be skill upgrades. I wouldn't upgrade skills on characters once again until you've tested, you're getting used to the game and you know exactly what you want to skill up. This one you can do, however. This is going to be your dupe system where you can upgrade characters using dupes. So is there anyone that I can actually, we'll just do this guy for argument's sake. So what you can do as well is use these other currencies, not currencies, they're just like a in-game resource to upgrade them instead of using dupes. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Once again, get used to your playstyle, who you want to build, what type of gameplay you want to do before you do that. But if you do have dupes, you can click here and you can use the dupes to go ahead and upgrade them. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. So if you have dupes of any of the characters you're using, normally it's going to be Rs, maybe SRs. You can go ahead and do that. That'll increase their stars and increase their level cap as well. So that's the one upgrade I'd look at doing. Like I said, the other 2, leave them out for the first couple of days until you're used to the game. The other thing you're going to do often is going to be coming over here. And this is where you're going to level up your characters. It goes through like a contract negotiation thing, and basically you're just going to put the books in, you're going to hit this, it's going to come in, we're going to get ready for the negotiation. Now it's going to have different price points of gold on basically risk for reward. It's not going to make or break your game, whichever one you do. Whoops, I clicked too fast. I just always go for the middle one basically. I just prefer the balance of it. Like I said, it's not going to make or break your game depending on which way you go for it. The next thing I want to talk about is ships. So basically, when we look at the ships, this one here is a pretty good ship that you get along the way. I definitely use that one when you get it. I'd hold out on upgrading ships for the first few days. And and wait a little bit. But this one's probably if you were going to upgrade a ship, this would probably be the one to look at. It's very tanky. And then basically you can just use whichever ship for the remaining slot. And you should be pretty good to go from there. But yeah, you can basically use this one, use any one of those, and just keep going. Just make sure you slot this one in when you do get it, because it's a nice ship to use. The next tip, like I said earlier, save your premium currency. Your premium currency for future banners is really important. Unless you just want to summon, go ahead. But that's something not bad to do. And over here, you can see the purple stuff. That is going to be like your stamina in the game. And as you can see, I'm on 39,000 of 8,900. Now, this stamina, you will get heaps in your mail. Like any gacha game, don't collect it from your mail until 1, it's about to run out of time, or 2, you actually need it. So only collect it when you need it, unless it's about to run out, then you can collect it to overcap. But you don't want to overcap your stamina, because then it just becomes a bit of a waste. Now, when you're progressing through in your first few days, what you really want to focus on is going to be the campaign, the main campaign, and progressing. Now, you will unlock other things along the way. So this is the main campaign. Just make that your focus. You will unlock like these daily resource grinds. Definitely do them. What you might want to do is when you do unlock them, do one battle, depending on how hardcore you're playing. You might want to leave your second battle until closer to the daily reset, so that you might power up a bit and be able to clear the second stage. But in the end, just do those dailies, because, you know, they'll be reset by the next day, and stuff like that. And keep an eye out for it. You will unlock PvP along the way. Also jump into PvP. Do it even if you don't like PvP. Just do it to get the points, because they're going to be handy as well. And I think that pretty much covers all the basics to get you pointed in the right direction for day one. Like I said, we'll definitely cover this game a lot more once we do get into the English version, and we can start getting good guides where you can actually understand what's going on. But like I said, hopefully that gets you on your way. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have an awesome day, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.